and welcome to Just News, live at the Wave with Millie Park and Cassidy Chan.
Here's our top stories today on the Friday 16th of May 2025.
A £14 million boost for Yorkshire trains.
A water ban is on its way after the dry spring in records. Alex Crombie is on the way to talk to locals how it's affecting them.
A possible water ban is on its way after the driest spring on record.
And a street full of endangered swifts, not the blonde singing kind. Hillsborough residents' new project aims to help save the birds.
And we're gearing up for Europe's biggest party, it's the Eurovision.
All that and more coming up in Just News.
Hello and welcome to the programme. We start with our top story. A £14 billion plan to overhaul Yorkshire's broken rail system is being unveiled today in Leeds. Former Home Secretary Lord Blunkett says the proposal offers a once-in-a-lifetime chance to boost jobs, growth and connectivity across the region. Ollie Clay reports.
A £14 billion rail blueprint, launched today by Lord Blunkett and the region's metro mayors, promises faster, more reliable services and better stations across the region. For South Yorkshire, the proposals include a new mainline station at Rotherham, full electrification of Sheffield's routes and increased services connecting Barnsley, Doncaster and beyond. Lord Blunkett said in a statement, "Yorkshire has been punching under its weight for far too long, and with the White Rose Agreement and this infrastructure plan, the three mayors are determined to reverse this historic trend. It's time to back Yorkshire." The Department for Transport said it would consider Lord Blunkett's recommendations carefully, stressing that it is committed to improving transport across the north. If delivered, Blunkett's Yorkshire Plan for Rail says there will be significant benefits. It could unlock £20 billion in economic growth in the region, create over 80,000 new jobs, and contribute to the building of 210,000 homes over the next 10 years, making up for the underinvestment the region has received in recent decades. The mayors are urging the government to back the plan, with £2.4 billion needed over the next 5 years. With pressure now on Westminster, leaders say it's time to deliver on promises and, in South Yorkshire Mayor Oliver Coppard's words, get rail in Yorkshire back on track.
And we've got Ollie with us now to tell us a little bit more. So Ollie, what are the benefits this is going to have for South Yorkshire's railways?
So, if the money does come to the region, which is not certain, it would mean that our described as Victorian-era railways would be improved. Their trains are currently unreliable, their infrastructure is ageing, so this amount of money could make a real big difference to the experience of the people of Sheffield and Yorkshire.
What did the South Yorkshire Mayor Oliver Coppard have to say about the plan?
So Oliver Coppard was one of the three regional mayors that signed on to this plan set out by Lord Blunkett, who had been a Sheffield MP for 25 years and then became a Lord in 2015. And Oliver Coppard said that the review for the first time made clear that the problems created by decades of underfunding across the whole of Yorkshire, and it gives us a plan for fixing them.
Thank you so much, Ollie. In other news, Yorkshire Water will launch drought plans, with fear growing amongst the public that a hosepipe ban will take place. This follows the driest February, March and April in Yorkshire for almost 90 years.
As much as 100 million litres of extra water have been used as temperatures have spiked recently. Currently, Yorkshire's water's reservoir levels are at 73% of capacity, compared with an average for this time of year at 89%. Also in the last month, water bills have rose by 29%, adding to that growing anger at the suggestion of a hosepipe ban. Alex Crombie, our environmental correspondent, is down at Darmel allotments to find out a little bit more.
It's another bright and sunny day down at Ouse Road allotments here in Sheffield, one of many this spring. I'm here with Sarah Emberson, coordinator of the Darnell allotment project, to find out that if a hosepipe ban were to come into effect, what the effects would be on the local allotments. So, Sarah, what impacts are we likely to see?
Well, it's been so dry this spring, and usually we obviously collect loads of rainwater, and usually it would see us through most of summer, But this year we're running out already. In fact, on the other allotment I work on, we ran out yesterday. So we had to start using the tap because otherwise all the plants are going to die. So we never use a hose pipe, stand with a hose pipe on the allotment, but we do fill up our water butts with a hose pipe. So yeah, we had to do that.
How much responsibility do you think lies with the water companies to prevent things like this from happening?
Well, obviously it has been a ridiculously dry spring, but it feels like last year it rained constantly. Last summer and autumn there was so much rain. So I don't know, maybe we could have stored a bit more.
Thank you so much. Back to the studio.
2 months ago, Farley Medical Centre in Hillsborough sent a letter to their transgender patients stating they were no longer providing them gender-affirming care. Transgender patients at the clinic are left with less than a month to find a new source of care. Our health correspondent Adrian Collins takes a look at what the local community has been doing since to combat a lack of inclusive healthcare.
On the 5th of March, Farlane Medical Centre in Hillsborough sent out a controversial notice to a very specific group of patients, those who received gender-affirming hormone care. They were told they'd no longer be able to receive it and that this was due to a lack of expertise. The sudden change has left transgender residents like Cameron, who rely on NHS-funded hormone care, to look for new affordable options with very little notice. He spoke to me, choosing to keep his last name anonymous in the interest of safety.
You can tell it's a copy-paste because it references Tavistock, which is in London. What I find offensive about that is that they couldn't even be bothered to, address the local community that exists.
Suddenly stopping hormone therapy can leave patients with significant withdrawal symptoms. His only options were to quickly find another GP or to go private.
There's more of us than there are of them, and considering how few trans people there are in the country, I really think that says something. There's a group of us who have had this experience of what you told me on, and I think that's really beautiful, and I think it's a kind of a small but beautiful monument to trans resilience that we're able to do that.
While not in his ward, Councillor Manesh Parekh has been working with local councillors and the community in Hillsborough to try and increase access to trans healthcare.
The most help that I've gotten actually is for the Labour councillor for, I think, Crooks, Manesh, who's been an absolute star.
The national situation with access to gender-affirming care is quite poor. There are long delays, but you just don't expect a GP practice to turn around and say to people that they won't receive any care or that they're unable to provide people healthcare. I think it undermines, the notion and founding principles of our NHS, which is to provide free and equitable healthcare to everyone who needs it. There's been a really strong community response in Sheffield against that, particularly from the LGBT community, and lots of political figures are very supportive of that. I know there's been a really strong challenge to Farlane. That includes the local MP, Jill Furness, lots of the local councillors for the Hillsborough ward itself.
As you can see by the outside sign, Farlane is expanding their practice. They're inviting new patients to join them. This doesn't include trans patients who want to go on hormones. Farlane Medical Centre did not respond to an invitation to comment. Now, with Pride Month coming up in June, it remains to be seen how organisations across South Yorkshire will show their support for the LGBT community. Adrian Collis, Just News.
Well, it's been a difficult week for the beloved Sheffield music venue, the Lead Mill, after they officially lost their eviction appeal and have to vacate the building in 3 months. In a devastating blow, the independent music spot won Best Live Venue at the Exposed Awards last night, a clear sign of the love and support from the city. Before the Lead Mill officially closes its doors for the final time, they're calling on past and present patrons to tell them which music stars they want to grace the famous stage one last time, telling people no act is too big.
Doncaster Sheffield Airport is one step closer to reopening thanks to a crucial move by the UK aviation regulator. The Civil Aviation Authority has cleared the way for a new airspace to be designed around the site. At the moment, the airspace is uncontrolled, meaning anyone can fly through it without needing to commute with the controller. With the new design, it means the City of Doncaster Council will now move forward with plans to bring flights back to the airport. So by 2026, we should be seeing more planes across the sky and more people around the city.
And sad about the lead mill, but still in the mood for some music? Well, you are in luck. The Sheffield Chamber Music Festival kicks off tonight at the Crucible and will feature a special programme of 20 events celebrating 2 decades of music making. Tonight, the festival will be opening with Schubert's Octet and will feature more of Chamber's works over the week. This year, the music guests include big names like solo percussionist Dame Evelyn Glennie and multi-award-winning sitar player Jasdeep Singh Degun.
The Sheffield Memory Hub has launched a new dementia toolkit allowing members to relive core memories through cultural headwear. The Memory Hub is a dementia support group for people from the African and Caribbean community in Sheffield. Sana Pak went down to hear some of the members' stories from back home.
Members of the Sheffield Memory Hub went back in time to relive some of their childhood memories, all through the art of head wrapping.
It took a lot of their members back to some of their early memories, living back home in the Caribbean, because the head wrapping reminded so many of them of their grandmas, and it triggered so many positive memories.
We sat down with members to see exactly what memories from back home had been triggered.
Knowing your history, to me, is what matters. You know, when they talk about the different wraps, it just brought me back to my roots.
I did enjoy it, you know. I like things like that. Because sometimes I watch it on YouTube on my phone, and I like to watch this lady tie the head, and thought, oh well, I would like to do that.
Where I was born, the cloth, the shore, you know, they are a thing like that. I grew up with my grandmother buying it and using it to tie her head.
Sometimes the simplest of art forms can unlock the richest memories. Sana Peck, Just News, Sheffield.
And we're going to be joined again later in the programme by Sana with the sports. Now, you may be noticing that a familiar neighbour has returned to Sheffield. Swifts migrate from Africa to the UK every year and nest within the crevices of houses. However, they are now endangered. Our reporter Josh Herman spoke to Hillsborough residents about their new Oakland Road project, a conservation effort to help save this bird.
Oakland Road nests generations of swifts because of its rows of Victorian terraces. They nest within the crevices of these houses and extraordinarily return to the UK from Africa to the exact same nest every single year.
So if I'm stood at the front, you can watch them for hours, and all down the street as well, and further up the street as well, wherever they've got the Edwardian guttering. The only time I've ever heard the sound of the swifts like that is when we were in Barcelona years ago, and it really reminded us of Hillsborough.
However, because of modern housing developments, these nests are being filled in, causing the swift population to fall by 65% since 1995. The Oakland Road project sees the retrofitting of swift bricks, a brick with a nest installed inside.
Whilst usually we would expect to see swifts overhead first week of May, they were actually noticed in that final week of April, so full week early, and we believe that's down to the weather.
These local Swifties are looking forward to inviting even more of this iconic bird as they continue their journey from Africa. Josh Herman, Just News, Sheffield.
Now, the Eurovision Song Contest is due to take place tomorrow at 8 p.m. But let's find out what Alex Hill, president of the Eurovision Society at the University of Sheffield, loves so much about this competition.
There's so many things that I love about the Eurovision. It's hard to talk about them all. I love hearing all of the different songs from the different countries, seeing the differences between them, seeing them all come to life on stage. I love the excitement of the competitive aspects. You know, you hear all the songs, or I like to listen to all the songs in advance, so I know who my favourites are, and I go in knowing who I'm rooting for, and it makes it very exciting to see on the night.
And now we have Sana Peck with the sports.
Thanks, Cassidy. Well, whilst we patiently wait for that all-important Championship promotion playoff match between Sheffield United and Sunderland on Saturday, one of the most historic sporting rivalries in the world got underway this morning. Johnny Bairstow's Yorkshire side are visiting the Oval for the first time in 3 years to face Surrey in the Rothesay County Championship.
Nicked and gone. They had to be patient. But when the chance came...
And Surrey have their first wicket after a tough morning session. Yorkshire's Finn Bean was caught by Australian debutant Curtis Patterson at third slip and bowled by Tom Laws. Bean must depart for 19 runs off of 48 balls, the score currently at 52 for 1. As for Yorkshire women, they face Essex in the T20 Vitality Blast County Cup in Headingley tomorrow after their 6-wicket win against Leicestershire yesterday. That's all the sport for now. Back to you, Millie and Cassidy.
Well, thanks, Anna, for that one. Well, it's time for the weather with Adrian Collis.
Well, the sun certainly isn't going anywhere and there's still no rain in sight. Let's take a look at the weather today across South Yorkshire. There'll be bright sunshine and minimal cloud cover across Sheffield, Doncaster and Barnsley. It's also glorious across the peaks, so if you're heading out, don't forget your sun cream. Looking forward to the weekend ahead, temperatures will be hovering around that 22 degrees mark. All of this sunny weather is due to last, and if you're wondering why this sunny spell is sticking around, it's all thanks to something called an omega block. Basically, the jet stream's taken a nap and left high pressure parked over us. That means dry, settled weather for us, while places like Spain are getting drenched. That's all from me for now. Back to you, Millie and Cassidy.
Now, before we go, we do need to make an apology on behalf of one of our reporters. The eagle-eyed among you may have noticed that during his lunchtime piece, Colin Sykes launched a completely unprovoked attack on an innocent bystander. And for those of you that missed it, it gives us absolutely no pleasure at all to show it again.
Could soon be feeding these fellas here.
Oh my God!
Of course, it was a complete accident on Colin's part. He usually doesn't hit the target that well when he's trying. He feels a right swine about it, and the pig is believed to have suffered no long-term damage. Now, over to you, Roger.
Hello, Colin, from the Northwest Tonight studio at Media City in Salford, where it goes without saying, we still remember you with great affection from your many years of service as our transport correspondent and our environment correspondent. Many of us learned an awful lot working with you, but things have changed around here quite a bit. Look who's here.
Hi, Colin. I definitely wouldn't be standing in your old studio and old office without all the amazing lessons I learnt with you in my year at Sheffield. We still talk about lots of the pieces you showed us there, like the very memorable pig piece to camera that is infamous here in the office, I think. But every lesson I learned from you is the reason we're here, and lots of your students I know are scattered across lots of different places, and that's all thanks to you.
Yeah, wishing you all the best, Colin. We do remember the pig piece to camera. Have a really happy retirement. All the best.
Ah, Psycho, I can't believe you're retiring. All the best with that. Psycho, of course, is what we'll always call you because that's what Kevin McKay called you. Here I am in a field doing the job that you did for so long as environment correspondent, and I always remember how brilliant you were, helping me out with all the stories you thought I'd need to cover, especially fracking, and I'm so glad you did because I had to cover that for so many years. You really dodged a bullet there. You did try and failed, of course, to teach me to use a camera, but hey, I will always be known as a budget Colin Sykes. All the best. I hope you have a fantastic retirement and hope to see you soon.
And Colin is watching the show in the Just News TV gallery, hopefully not too shocked and surprised. And finally, we couldn't say goodbye without a little compilation of Colin's, or maybe now we should say Psycho's, best bits.
As environment and transport correspondent at BBC Northwest Tonight, Colin Sykes is the presenter behind a series of consistently high-quality, informative and well-balanced news reports.
Our environment correspondent Colin Sykes is at a power station in Widnes now.
Well, yes, Ranva, it's unlikely we'll see another power station, coal-fired power station like Fiddler's Ferry built in the future unless the carbon can be captured. At Walney, there'll be 100 turbines the size of these. They take their power back to shore using a cable buried in the seabed. This one will go to Heysham. Did you know a washing machine load, for example, will cost you around 14 pence, or an electric oven around 11 pence for 20 minutes? The decision to change from being fully organic will have a knock-on effect on other parts of the farm's business. Tomorrow night, I'll be finding out how your dustbin can play its part in generating electricity. On the shelves, forgotten items like Titbits magazine, Benson's sweets, and something called Dulcet cream. At one time, every community would have had a corner shop like this. They sold everything from health remedies to sweets to cocoa, even the odd magazine, and the best thing about them was they were literally open all hours.
Colin Sykes can hopefully explain. Colin?
Well, yes, Gordon, if you can hear me above the sound of the Alp horns, your ears aren't deceiving you. No, we're not in Switzerland, we're in Bolton at the Jumbolds Country Park. But these are genuine Alp horns. And if I go along all 12 feet of them, we can join the players who are Neil and Helen Grundy. Helen, if I can just stop you there, please. A very unusual instrument to see over here. What got you started with it?
Hugh, who is your top mate in the commentary act?
Colin Sykes.
Colin Sykes?
Yeah.
That's your top mate?
Yeah.
Call him up.
Hi, Colin. Yes, it's Hugh Abbott speaking. How are you? Yeah. You got a decent backhand yet, have you? Hugh Abbott. We played tennis together. Yeah.
He's incredible.
Colin Sykes didn't know who I was.
In a busy primetime news slot, this is something he can be rightly proud of.
Oh, that was a lovely compilation of Colin.
It was. And we go back into the gallery now with a man that will always be asking, where is your audio?
The always infamous sticker that we always have in our group chat as well. Because Colin asking us, we need our audios. Well, that's all from the Just New team for this year now.
You can keep up to date on our social media channels and on the website sheffieldwire.co.uk. Bye for now.